Yeah, hi, good morning. Jeff Emma coming to you today, July 20th, 2017. I'm holding up a picture I took in Memphis last summer. This is what they used to call a shell. It was a Canada Dry shell. And what this was what the bottles of soda uh, came delivered in the 40s, 50s, 60s, maybe even before that. It was made of wood, and it had metal banding around the side, and they were nailed in, and they were splintered and rusting and fairly dangerous even just to handle. Plastic eventually replaced it. They use these with milk as well. The reason I took this picture, first of all, was it reminded me of my childhood, and second of all, the reason I decided to talk about this today and bring that up was when I looked at the picture, it reminded me that today being July 20th, in my childhood, what would I be doing in July 20th in part of my childhood? Now, early part of it, I was going to day camp and I did a little sleepaway camp and all. But for the most part, my later teen years, I worked for my father. My father had a what they called a candy store. But it really wasn't a candy store in the true definition, in that it wasn't a luncheonette, or we didn't have a fountain. We didn't make egg creams. We didn't make sandwiches. We had bottled soda, packaged ice cream, Dixie cups, fudge bars, Yoo-hoo fudge bars. We sold toys and obviously cigarettes and cigars and model airplanes and stuff like that. So we had a stationery store. So we got soda, in these shells. Now, in those days, you had a deposit on those bottles, and the little bottles were 2 cents, and the big bottles, what was being there, would be 5 cents, and people would bring them back, because if a bottle of Coke was 11 cents, it was 9 cents for the little 6-ounce bottle of Coke, and 2 cents for the bottle. It was almost like 20% of the cost was the bottle. So you brought them back. Everybody brought bottles back. The thing is, first of all, everything was sugared soda and real sugar, so there was no like diet soda. So when the bottles came back, most people didn't wash them off or rinse them off. Some people did, but for the most part, you got these dirty, sticky bottles back, oftentimes with lipstick stains on them, and they would bring them back and they'd get their 25, 30 cents, whatever 6 cents, whatever the bottles were, and you took them back. Now there was no pixies in the store. We were the pixies. These bottles had to be collected in the back, and they had to be brought downstairs to our basement. Now we had a wooden step basement that went downstairs, where we kept all those stacked up cases of soda. The drivers who delivered Coke, Pepsi, Canada Dry, they would bring the sodas down. But it was also their job to take the returns, the empty bottles. They had to take them back and give us credit. And we needed those shells, we kept the shells. So as we emptied out the shells, selling the soda, we kept the empty shells and we filled them back up with the empties. But unlike, commingables, there was no commingables. You had to sort the bottles. So not only did Pepsi have to go with Pepsi and Coke with Coke and Canada Dry with Canada Dry and Hoffman with Hoffman, you had to put the same size bottle in with the thing. So the little Cokes had to go in the little together, and the little shell that held those, and the Pepsis had to go there, and the big Canada Dries. I mean, flavors they didn't care so much. You didn't have to keep different flavors separately, but all the Hoffman bottles, all the Cott bottles, they all had to go in the same thing. So it was somebody's job, and it was really all of our jobs to go down and sort the bottles before going home, which was such a fun job. Because if it was 95 degrees upstairs, it was like about 105 degrees downstairs. There was no air, and the light was a hanging bulb from a wire, which we would go down there, feel our way around, and try to find its string and hope that you didn't break the string. And that's where the good stuff was kept. Now the bottles, because they were kept in the sub crawl space. In the old days when they built these buildings, and maybe they still do, there was like a not a crawl space, but like a walkway that kind of was in the back of the basement, where you could sort of go, I guess was for safety and fire departments and stuff, where they can get across the whole building So it was like a hallway that your basement led into. So, and you were supposed to keep it clear, for the fire department, but we didn't. That's where we sorted the bottles. So it was 95 degrees upstairs, 105 degrees in the basement. This thing might have been 120 degrees for what the hell I know. Another one bulb, when it worked, and you brought in all these paper bags, no plastic bags, paper bags, and some people didn't even bring them in bags, sticky, lipstick stained bottles. And we had a Coke, Pepsi, 7-Up, and we had to sort the bottles out. Now most people don't even realize that. They just would bring stuff back to the. Most people of our age, if you all remember even bringing bottles back like that and paying 2 cents for it, or 5 cents for it, even remember doing that. And it sounds to me, why would you care about 2 cents? Well, if the soda was 11 cents and 2 cents of that was the deposit, you wanted your 2 cents back. In fact, it's just to add a little color to the story, that when we were in the store and people would take the soda out and they drink it, we'd have to say, you drink it here, take it out. So drinking it here meant they weren't even going to give you the 2 cents. They were just going to stand there, read a magazine for free or lean on something, drink their soda, and then give you back the bottle. Some people would want to walk in, they go outside, and you'd have to sort of mentally keep track of who paid for the bottles and who you had to get the bottle back from. Because sometimes these people they'd be sneaky. They'd say, we drink it here, and then they walk out, drink it, leaning on the parking meter, then bring it back and want their 2 cents. So Little Murray was really good. Whenever he'd have to, when he wanted to go in the back to the bathroom or something, he'd say, that one paid for the bottle, that one didn't pay for the bottle, you got to get the 2 cents from that one. That son of a bitch always tries to beat you for the 2 cents. And he'd sort of go around, and he would sort of tell you before we walked away, so you made sure you got your bottles back and your 2 cents. But the gist of the story is that I remember when my daughter Meredith first got her first job at Old Navy, and she came home from her first day, and she was saying, a summertime job, and how tiring it was and how hard she worked. They had to teach her how to fold up the shirts to put them back on the thing. And I tell her, that's why they call it work. If it was fun, they call it fun. But then I would go into this whole story about having to do the bottles in the summertime, and it's like all of these things don't even exist. These wooden shelves that were dangerous, that we'd always get cuts on from the rusty metal and get splinters from, and having to go down there into the basement. Now, we were pretty lucky. We weren't really rodent infested. I mean, there was some rodents there, but for the most part, my father paid for good extermination, and I didn't run into much of that. But it was part of my childhood, and part of a childhood that doesn't exist, because first of all, milk and such, when you go into the supermarkets, is all in plastic shells. In fact, many of you have your record collections, or your LPs, in your basement in plastic milk shells, and so when I saw that picture in that window in Memphis, I was immediately, I said, that was like part of my childhood, that Canada Dry, not a better known logo in the world, and a solid remembrance of Julys and August in the ground, and growing up in the Bronx in the 60s. So this is Jeff Emmer coming to you with another memory. Thanks for listening.